140 distressed property deals last year, doing over $1 million, all with a small outsourced team of inexperienced helpers. Alan and AJ didn't have trust funds, big investors, or a head start, just grit and some strategy that no one else probably really saw. So maybe you're just like Alan and AJ and only 12 months away from $1 million. Let's find out how this works. Welcome, Alan and AJ.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Y'all are so soft spoken. If someone were to see you on the street and talk to you, they would have no idea like what you're up to. And I love that because we're a lot like that. Now you drive through a parking lot in the back and you could see what we're up to because everybody's finally making real money and nice cars and stuff. But a lot of our partners are like, y'all, we're just here to do business. We're not trying to, no Gucci shirts, shit like that. I admire that about y'all.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having us.
So you guys run your business together. Why don't y'all tell me, just give me a 5-minute background of like who y'all each are, how you got here. Tell our viewers that.
I'm going to start? Okay. I guess I'll break the ice.
Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Abimel Jimenez. I go by AJ. Most know me by AJ. And a little bit of how I got into real estate. It was actually by accident. So I used to work for a Comcast company doing third-party work for them. And one of my colleagues there was asking...
What were you doing? Installing cable?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of PM work, installing like coax, working with fiber, stuff like that.
Okay.
So it was pretty interesting. I actually enjoyed that job a lot. It's probably because of the pay too. I was getting paid like $50 an hour. So
oh yeah, that's good.
Back then that was really good money for me.
Still good money, but you've cracked the code a little since then.
Exactly, yeah. And so kind of like just slipped in there. He told me, hey, there's an opportunity. I'm going to this job interview. They're wholesaling houses.
Who told you this?
This is one of my friends I used to work with in the Comcast. And
where, what city? Houston?
This is in Houston. Yep, in Houston. And he told me about it. I was like, man, you know what? I've thought about getting into real estate. Never knew how or what I was going to do. But I was like, I'll take a shot. Let's go. Go with him. And he gets a job. And then I get interviewed. And the CEO...
Was this like a large, small, or medium wholesaler? Or?
Well, from what it appeared and what they painted, it was like a medium size, but it was not at all once I started working with them, It was more like, I'm going to sell you the dream and you're going to work here and, make it look pretty, but it wasn't nothing crazy. They were probably doing 3 deals a month for houses, which was not crazy back then,
For it's also hard to pay for an entire team on that.
Yep. So, long story short on that, went to the first interview. They said, I think we're pretty much have one more spot open, and if you're ready to go, we can take you in. And so I was like, man, I'm getting put in the corner right now. And so I was at the time doing Comcast on the weekends, helping my father with remodeling work because that's what he does.
$50 an hour is about $100,000 a year working full time. Leaving that, you really had to believe you're going to make a lot more money at this new deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, from the amount of the things that the guys were talking about and all these things, I was like, man, I'm going to make great money. Of course, he was selling me a dream, He told me they were doing like 20.
Do you regret that decision outside of all the other things you did?
No, not at all. Not one bit.
It was a perfect part of your path, but in the moment, you might have been like, what did I do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what it felt like in the beginning. And so I got hired on. I quit Comcast. I quit working with my dad, and I told him what was going on. And just took it full on.
Your dad supportive of that or not?
He was, yeah.
Okay, good.
Because he had like a side job he was doing, remodeling, and got to a point I was helping him a little bit more, and then that happened. But the side of that got into it, and I started in acquisitions for homes, and then gradually moved from that company moved on to another company because that one went under. And started with another company. They also went under. Started with another company. Also went under. And then I started a business wholesale with some other folks. That went under.
Did you pitch him to work together, or did you pitch him, or did this happen?
It just kind of naturally happened, yeah.
So y'all got along a little bit.
Yeah, so like, they were a little bit ahead of me in the sense of like going out, talking to sellers and things like that.
Oh, in terms of experience.
Yeah, and then, because he was already working for companies and things like that, so he got some good ropes at the time.
And you were working somewhere else?
Yeah, I was on a completely different path.
Oh, that's right. You were helping with the mattress guy.
Yeah, Mattress Mac. I worked for him. But, once we kind of like, I would go with them and, kind of go on appointments. I kind of see how I was and kind of hung out a couple of times, work related stuff. And just we're like, hey, we should just try working together.
Kind of feeling it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So then how did you get to that point from like where to here?
So, I was born in Houston. Kind of a little bit like we talked about, or I've talked about in the past, where like, grow up kind of like middle class family, right? Or kind of ghetto rich, to be honest.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But your pops was in a business that wasn't above board. Now I remember.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he went to federal prison. He got sentenced for like 10 years.
At what age were you in this?
I was 8 years old.
Oh God, when a
Yeah.
kid needs his dad the most.
Yeah. So, at that point, like we went from living pretty ghetto fabulous to like, struggling to keep up with things. So it was like my mom and it was about 6 of us in the house, and she was probably making like $30,000 a year. So it was, we ended up moving around a little bit. We lose that house, and but around 15 years old, he gets back out, he gets back to work, and I go volunteer one day.
What kind of work was he doing?
He was actually in sales at working for Mattress Mac as well.
Oh, that's how you got connected there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one day I go and volunteer, and like this is after the Hurricane Harvey that happened in Houston in 2017.
And even when you're doing the cable installation, $50 an hour, $100,000 a year, those are good paying jobs. How were y'all managing money at the time? Are you saving a lot? Were you spending a fair amount? Like, what'd that look like?
I was actually saving a good amount. Yeah, I was just so scared to be broke again. that was kind of where that, I was, just putting dollars away, and I knew one day eventually I was going to use it for something to keep it growing.
Was that just going straight into your savings account, basically?
No, it's just my check-ins. And I mean, I would always kind of figure out something to get into to make some money. So, I mean, it was kind of always used for that.
Okay. So
Not
you were
me.
somewhat disciplined. What about you?
No, not me at all.
Were you spending what you were making?
Yeah. It was every Friday. There was a time and a period where like every Friday I was getting paid $2,000, $3,000 a week, whatever.
What'd you do on Fridays?
Oh man, I would spend $2,000 in a weekend.
What were you buying?
Just spending it on expensive food, buying guns, trips, hotels, paying $600-$700 a night at a hotel, like just being stupid.
Living outside.
Living outside, of course, and it's like, and it all came back to reality of like, I've never made this much money. I never see my parents
Yeah.
make this much money, so I
Have a
didn't.
little fun.
Yeah, let me have a little fun.
It's a
and-
reward. I'm going to reward myself.
Exactly, yeah, and it got to the point where I realized, oh dang, when I'm doing this, a cycle too, like it's a season, because I got to a point in that company where there's no work for 3-4 months, and that's where I hit a brick wall, and I was like, oh shoot,
I was balling last month, and right
Yeah.
now I got no work. I got no money.
I had no money, and so after that happened, that's where like it hit me in the head, and I was like, man, I need to slow down, chill,
Save for a rainy day.
start saving, and
When you would make those big spends and go on those trips that were expensive and all that stuff, did you feel like this is my reward? I earned this. I deserve this. Like,
Yep.
did those trips make you feel happy or better about yourself? Did it serve the purpose that you thought it was serving?
for the moment being, I think it did. But then realizing, like, man, I could be doing a lot more than just this. It's like helping my family.
It was
helping-
good in the moment, but it was fleeting.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like quick reward, satisfaction, feel.
Like some instant
It's like a
gratification.
high,
Yeah.
basically like a high, and
Almost like a user of drugs. The
Exactly.
pattern is very similar.
yeah, and I think a lot of folks get in that pattern real quick, especially if you never made an X amount of money in your life and you start to make it, and then before you realize, you're like, man, I'm just spending it and I have nothing to show for, and it sucks, but I tell everybody out there, if you're making good money and you've never made that money, just save it or invest it because you'll be happy you did.
I can connect with that. When I was working in the oil field, I burned a lot of inheritance money beforehand. And when I went out to the oil field, I didn't have much. That's why I went to go get this job. And I remember dudes were getting big paychecks, and they'd go buy a new bass boat. They'd show up to the job site and it's brand new, like F-350, like
Lifted.
badass. I'm talking like big trucks.
And it makes you almost want to.
Yeah,
almost.
I would see that, but I remember I'd gotten to the point where I had $3,000-$4,000 left in my bank account when I got hired out here, and I'd had hundreds of thousands of dollars at any given time in my checking account after that big inheritance. I'd gone down to almost nothing, and I remember getting these checks, thinking like, "Wow, I got a lot of cash in my bank account. It's growing again." And these dudes, they would fuck. It's an oil field, man. Everybody talks shit. And rough,
Yeah, of
rough
course.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember they'd be joking. I'm pulling up in like a nice, safe vehicle, but it's not sexy. Paint wasn't looking that good. And, maybe like this tire didn't match that tire, but it was safe and nice, clean for me. And they would always talk shit and joke. But I remember, I'll never forget, man, when the pricing of the barrel of oil started to have pressure on it back in 2015 for a while. People were getting laid off, not getting rehired to the next job. And I remember those dudes would call and be like, hey, Logan, man, I got laid off. Do you know someone that's hiring right now? Do you know anybody outside of the company? And I was like, dang, that sucks. But I remember a couple of them were like, they were like stressed. They would say, man, I got to make this mortgage payment. And I remember thinking, oh, that's that dude that literally was showing us the pictures of the new bass boat or roll up in that new truck. And at that time, I had years of my monthly expenses saved. And I remember thinking, I could get laid off tomorrow. I remember thinking I could get laid off tomorrow, but then I also remember thinking, I don't give a fuck. I have 2 years of salary saved.
This guy's like going crazy on the other.
Yeah.
He's like, I can
He's
get laid off.
stressed.
Just chilling.
And in this moment, I'm like, oh, dude, all this time, this is what I've done.
Yeah.
I'm not stressed. He's fucking stressed. Okay, this was the right decision. Even when I'm getting in my F-150, it's not that sexy driving where I'm driving.
He's like feeling better
Still
about
feel
it
good
now.
though.
What's y'all's message to those folks? They're looking at y'all and admiring what you're doing. What do you tell them?
I say a lot of the problem is a lot of people will go on YouTube, listen to everybody that's speaking about what they're doing in their lives, careers, something that you're trying to align yourself with, right? Like if you're trying to align yourself with DPA, you're learning from Logan, or you're trying to do wholesaling and start an operation like we did. I think a lot of it starts where, a lot of people spend a lot of time in reading and learning and not acting. So I think just taking action. And I think that's kind of how we did it. It's just like, we didn't plan to have an operation the way we have, We didn't have the systems or anything. And all we cared about was just getting that first deal done, just getting it started. And that's what we ended up doing. And we just took off and just kept growing and growing and growing. And before we knew it, we're like, dang, what the heck? How did this happen?
No one knows what they're doing. Some of us do it anyway.
And there's a famous quote actually by Grant Cardone where he says, if you don't know it, you just figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
I mean, I think being intentional, first of all, and then also I remember one time I was at a meeting with Mac. It was like 10 o'clock at night on like a Saturday or Sunday. Yeah.
Dude's a machine.
Yeah. No, 7 days a week, like from sun up to sundown. But that's what I was able to learn, like what it took, right? And there was this meeting he talks, and like the end of the meeting, it's real intense. He's like screaming. He's, not in an angry way, but it's real intense. Like because this is his livelihood. Like he put 7 days a week for the last 40 years into this place, right? So what he said at the end of the meeting is like, if you want this, if you want to succeed, like you have to give your life for it. You have to be willing to give your life for it. And he's like, just straight open eyes, looking at everybody, like eye contacts, like. You have to be willing to give your life for it. So if you're ready for that, like, know what you're signing up for.
Dude.
So that was like super, like, I felt it like in my stomach, in my chest, and I was like, okay, well, anything that I'm gonna say I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be careful with what I say, because if I'm saying I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna put my life towards it, So that's what I would say to anybody just getting started.
Dude, that's a huge message from a hugely successful person that you can hugely trust with that message because he did it.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's really neat to be able to. Something we didn't talk about too much about encouraging people is to find right people that you respect and try to get around them the best you can. It's hard as you get older because how am I going to, buddy up next to some dude who's wealthy and got nothing that I can give to him? But I think it's easier as you're younger. You can work for these people, you can contribute, and God, picking those right people. Like, I don't even know that you intentionally planned that. It just kind of happened. You saw the opportunity and thought, dude, I'm here. Let's do this.
Yeah, and kind of like we were talking about earlier, like just being loyal. Like I still stopped by today, and I was like,
that's cool.
If they need like volunteers for something, like I'll stop by, I'll help. Like it's not about money. It's like
the dude helped change your life.
Exactly.
God, that makes me think of a gal who worked at a tanning store. Her name was Pam Daniel. It was Ping actually, but when she came to America, she changed it. She called herself Pam, so it would be more like standardized around here. And I worked for her for like 3 or 4 years. She taught me how to sell tanning lotions and packages, and people laugh, but I got paid $10 to $15 per, and we'd tan 100 to 200 people a day during the busy season. Plus I got a salary. So, I was in junior college at the time. I'd make like $600, $700, $800, $900 in a week. So 20 years ago for me, that was a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
And I had before that I worked at a bike shop, so I didn't make dick. And it was neat to be around this lady. She was entrepreneurial. She came here from China with nothing, went to university and built 3 or 4 businesses. She was earning a great living, big old house, nice cars. Like, I respect this lady so much. And I remember after I'd left town and I hadn't really started much yet, I was trying to find my way. I came back to visit her. She cooked dinner. I went and ate her house. It was fun to catch up with her. And I was inspired because I'm like, man, I got a long way to go. Man, this sucks. I wrote her a letter about 3 or 4 years ago. I said, Pam, I want you to know how much you affected my life, how much I learned from you and all this. And I looked up her address and I sent her this letter. And a couple weeks later, I'm like, dude, she never called me. She never sent me a letter back. What the flip? So I go look in the appraisal district, there was a different name on the property. I'm like, what the? I Google it. I found her obituary. She passed away of cancer. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I almost felt like I had a loss here. And I never got a chance as like a successful adult to call her and tell her, you made a big difference in my life. So
Wow.
when I think about my experience there and your experience still stopping by and giving back, if you have the opportunity to find these people that have helped you and give to you along the way, you probably should tell them, because there's going to be a time when you can't.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Wow. I'm just kind of thinking about that this
yeah.
moment. Whew. Man, all right, guys. This has been fun. I enjoyed it. Thanks for sharing your time with me and the other folks out here that aspire to be on a path like you guys are on. If they want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do it?
For me, I'm on Instagram a lot. Just my first name, Alan, ALANH. My last name, Quintero, QUINTERO. And, follow me, shoot me a DM. I'm always loving chatting with people about deals.
AJ, are you out there or you're
Yeah.
quieter?
No, I have an Instagram, but I got rid of it. It was distracting me, and so I only got a Facebook now. So you can just find me on there. It's Abimel, my first name, ABIMAEL. Last name is Jimenez, JIMENEZ.
All right. Well, whenever we publish this episode, I'll put y'all's contacts there in the caption. So thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed it and learned a lot. So thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
You got it. My commitment to you is to deliver the most interesting, messy, and profitable real estate deals on earth. And in exchange for that, I only ask that you subscribe to this podcast and share it with a friend who can benefit.